Previously on Hobo Fabulous.
The punchline of the joke is, what are you talking about? The first time he tried it, he was sick. The second time, his hat blew off.
Hey, ladies, do you like Hooba Stank?
First time he tried it, he was sick. The second time, his hat blew off.
Hey, ladies, do you like Hooba Stank?
The first time he tried it, he was sick. The second time, his hat blew off. Sailing and sex, very different, of course. What involves hoisting the mast and hoping the wind breaks to your advantage?
Hoisting the mast and hoping the wind breaks to your advantage.
I didn't even touch it. And bon appetit tomorrow morning, everybody.
I did my first stand-up special here, in this theatre. In this room, though. I didn't have a big audience, so we did it in this room. It was me,
Did you fill it up?
half a dozen people. Oh. Yeah, I didn't fill it, no, but it looked full from the stage, which was there. A wee bit of revolution. It was before I became an American citizen, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
You use this for proof to get the citizenship. You submitted the tape.
So I did a stand-up special in Boston, and they're like, okay. Well, you just have to answer a few questions. Do you like gum? Yes. Do you hate Al-Qaeda? Yes. Okay, congratulations, you're an American citizen.
I went to go work in a factory. It was all men working in the factory, all Scottish men working in the factory, walking around making machines, all Scottish men, naked from the waist down. Oh, girls, do you like Hooba Stank? All that stuff. It's all manly. You know my boss at the time? This is true. My boss at the time was a guy who has the most Scottish name I have ever heard of in my life. His name was, and I'm not kidding, Willie Macbeth. Like, I'm Scottish, I think that's a bit too Scottish. Willie Macbeth. Sounds like a Shakespearean porn site. Willie Macbeth. There's got to be other ones, hang on. Penis Hamlet, obviously. Romeo and Juliet. A Midsummer Night's Cream. Fuck you. Two Gentlemen of Verona? All right, that's enough. Anyway, I was working in this factory. It was all men, no women around. It was all manly men all walking around, making machines. The women were all off in the distance. They worked in offices. They were figures of romance and desire, but they worked in the offices off in the distance. Occasionally, one of the men would wolf whistle at one of the women, but that... By the way, I was brought up to believe, I didn't know that wolf whistling was objectification and made women uncomfortable. I was instructed by my elders that, you know, if a man wolf whistled at a woman, it was a compliment to the woman. I didn't know it was anything wrong with it. So, and neither did these guys. So occasionally they would like, whoo-hoo to a woman over there. Obviously I didn't do it, but they, I can't fucking whistle, all right? Just like a wolf can't now when I think about it. If a wolf wanted to get a woman's attention, he'd be like, arrgh. But you can't do that to a woman. She might think you're a ghost. I feel we're getting off the subject. So look, the women were all off there, and the men all worked together, but one of the women I remember, she was beautiful, she was gorgeous. So the Sophia Loren of Scotland in 1979, a beautiful woman. Big Margaret, her name was. She, I don't know if that was her Christian name. I don't know if she was christened Big Margaret. I named this child Big Margaret. She's just a little baby. I'm optimistic. Margaret was beautiful. Big Margaret, she was gorgeous. She was a big woman, a lot of presence, a lot of curves, sensual woman. She was like a cross between Dolly Parton and Shrek. She was like, beautiful woman. And then she was 1979, so she'd wear a little nylon jacket, a little tight nylon jacket, and a nylon blouse, and a nylon skirt, and nylons, and a lot of petrochemical products in her hair, and a lot of makeup. She was a highly flammable individual, is what I'm saying. One spark, the whole place would have gone up. She was beautiful, though. She used to wear these high-heeled Mary Jane shoes, and her foot fat used to push through the gap. Oh, it was dead sexy. It was fucking, oh. We used to say, oh, did you see Big Margaret's foot tits this morning? Oh. She was gorgeous. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. No one would ever say that in front of Big Margaret. No one ever made Margaret uncomfortable. Everyone was completely, these guys weren't dicks. They were, they were respect. Whenever Margaret was around, they'd be like, oh, yes, Margaret, absolutely, we'll get that done. No problem at all. No one would ever say anything like that when she was there. But the minute she was out of earshot, the men would always say the same thing. Oh, Big Margaret. Oh. They would always say, I'd show her a good time. I would show her a good time. I was 17, I was like, how could you show her a good time? You don't even know what her interests are. So I did not lose my virginity to Big Margaret. Fucking thought about it though, often. Still do from time to time, if I'm honest.
Craig's virginity story is, I think, one of the funniest stories in the entire stand-up. It is so genuine and honest and funny and sad. So sad. But that one has made, when he told me that the first time, I called my mother to tell her his virginity story, and she was weeping down the phone with laughter. It's hysterical.
So it doesn't bother you in any kind of way?
Oh gosh, it doesn't bother me at all. Everybody has their lives that they live.
Anyway, what happened was, at the end of the first year of working in the factory, it was me and 3 other apprentices, 4 young apprentices working in the factory, 17-year-old boys, and we made enough money to go on our first vacation away from our parents together. And the 4 kids, we went away to Scarborough in the north of England. Scarborough, it's like it's just a little seaside town, nothing special, it's just a little town, and we went there, and we didn't have much money, so we had to stay in what's called a boarding house. If you don't know what a boarding house is, it's a cross between an Airbnb and a Dickensian orphanage. And it was run by this horrible old woman. Oh, she was a horrible, nasty old fascist. She was like, she looked like Mr. Magoo. And there was 4 of us, but all we could afford was 1 room with 2 double beds in it. And she was like, 4 lads in 1 room with 2 double beds. You're not gays, are you? I don't want gays in my house. I will not have gays in my house. And I was looking at her house thinking, you could use a couple of gays in this house. This place is a mess. She thought one of us might be gay, you know. Fuck off. All right, you know what? Fine. Yes, I admit it. All right, you happy? When I was in my late teens, I experimented sexually. Then fucking hashtag that, you fuckers. I don't care. Yeah, of course. Look, how else are you going to know if you like something unless you try it? Am I right? I don't know if I like fish sticks. Well, pop one in your mouth and see how it goes. Let me finish. No, what I mean is... Now listen, if you're a young man in a room and you see another man's penis coming towards your face and you think, whoa, this is not for me, then you're probably not gay. I've had this discussion with gay friends who said, well, maybe it was the wrong penis. And I'm like, no, I don't think they vary enough for that to be a factor. How different do they get? Hat on, hat off? That's kind of it, isn't it? On the other hand, if you're a young man in a room and you see another man's penis coming towards your face and you think, now, this looks delicious, then you probably are gay. Does it really matter anymore? It's the 21st century. Lighten the fuck up. There's plenty to worry about, not that. Love all the people, everybody. Hashtag love all the people. You can definitely tweet that. So anyway, we said, no, we're not gay, horrible old lady. And she went, 4 lads, 1 room, and you're not gay. We said, no. She said, well, don't be bringing whores to my house. Do not bring whores to my house. I was 17, I didn't know what a whore was. I know now, of course. As I travel around the US telling jokes for money. Oh, you're the greatest audience I've ever seen. Oh, you're my favorite audience. Oh, you guys are I don't normally say this, but you guys are really the best audience. Worth the ticket price now, right? Am I right? Yeah, I got a little weird there, I agree. All right.
What's it like to hear your dad talk about sexual stuff?
What does it feel like when any dad talks about sexual stuff? You're like, stop doing that.
Anyway, so it was 1979. It wasn't just a confused time for me sexually, apparently, but it was also a confused time for youth culture. There's a lot going on. Punk rock had kind of finished and new wave was kind of coming in, but there was all kind of mix-up, and there was still mods and rockers, and they were kind of going at each other a bit, and there was ska people, and there were those new romantics, people that dressed up as transvestite pirates for some reason. There was a whole bunch of us, but there was only one nightclub in Scarborough, so we all went to this one nightclub, all the different youth factions. And I was there one night, and I was out on the dance floor, and I was dancing by myself. And that was all right because of the Billy Idol song. I was dancing by myself. Actually, the big song that summer was the Flock of Seagulls song. You remember that song? What was that song? What was it? Iran, that's right, Iran. It was a song about Iran. They were trying to warn us. Now I get it, Iran. Iran is very far away. That may be the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. All right. Anyway, I was out on the dance floor and I was just dancing by myself. I was doing that dance that was becoming popular. You know that dance that became all the way through the 80s? It was that thing dancing like that for some reason. You had to dance like weird. It was hard to dance like that. First time I tried it, I was sick. The second time, my hat blew off. That was just a little reminder of how fucking good I am. So I was doing that dance, and I was like, yeah, dance, and suddenly I was aware there was someone dancing next to me. Like a Boy George, but a little lady Boy George. Not a lady boy. A little lady Boy George, but a lady and a little person. No, we're not a little person. Look, an average, just slightly smaller than average woman dancing next to me, all right? And she was she was dressed as Boy George, but she was Lady Boy, and she was dancing. I was like, yeah, dancing. And she was like, yeah, you're dancing. I was like, yeah, I'm dancing. She was like, And there was chemistry between us. And at the end of the song, she said to me, do you want to go outside for a smoke? And I was like, it's 1979, we can smoke inside. What's your problem? She said, do you want to go outside for a smoke? You know what I mean? And I said, yes. But I did not know what she meant. So we went outside and she rolled what we used to call, you kids won't know about this, but we used to call it a joint. 3 or 4 cigarette papers, all kind of, you put them together in a little pattern, and then you make a little tube out of cardboard. It's called a roach, and then you get a real cigarette, and you lick the cigarette, and you dump the tobacco from the real cigarette into the joint, and then you sprinkle in hashish. Hashish. I know you kids have got the legal marijuana now, but to those of us that have smoked hashish, your marijuana is decaf. Really? Because you're still fucking talking. How strong can it fucking be? Oh, it's so strong. What? Here's high on hashish. For 4 hours. Anyway, we were smoking this hashish joint, and she said to me, she said, "Do you want a blowback?" And I said, "Yes, I do." But I had no idea what she was talking about. What she did is she said, "Bring your mouth close to my mouth." I was like, "All right." Then she inhaled the smoke from the joint, and then my mouth was open, and she blew the smoke from her mouth into my mouth, just like the Dementors in Harry Potter, you know? She blew the smoke into my mouth, and then suddenly she started making out with me. So there was smoke and tongue. Smoke, tongue. I'm vegan. But she was like, I was like, and don't get me wrong, I'd made out with Scottish girls in alleyways before, but that's a very different thing. You make out with a Scottish girl, you just touch your coat buttons together and peck. You know, like those little birds at your grandma's house. But this girl was all over. She was much more advanced than me sexually. She was very sophisticated, and she was like, touching me and everything, and like I was produce. Checking to see if my avocados were fresh and stuff. I think at one point she actually shook my ass and listened to it. Luckily, the wind broke to my advantage. And I was kind of freaked out. I wasn't ready. So I said to her, I tried to cover my tracks, so I said, I don't want to do it outside. And she said, "All right, come to my house tomorrow and we'll do it." I was like, "Okay." So she gave me her address, and the following day I went to her house. She lived a couple of miles outside of Scarborough in a little town called Filey. She lived in a trailer park, in a trailer that she shared with her parents. No, it was all right. She told me her parents were on a business trip that day. I don't know what business they were in. They lived in a fucking trailer in the north of England. They were off mole catching or something that day. And this is 100% true. This is what happened. I took the bus out of the trailer, and I got off the bus stop, and she was waiting for me at the bus stop. Mary, her name was. Let's start calling her name. Her name was Mary. Mary was waiting at the bus stop. She was still like little Lady Boy George. And her friend Jackie was with her as well. Jackie was a much taller person, and she had that kind of Rod Stewart haircut. You know what I'm talking about? Come on, I've been at Boston before. You fuckers know what I'm talking about. So she had that Rod Stewart haircut, Jackie. She was an interesting looking woman as well. She had that kind of mouth that you don't really see anymore. Even though her mouth was closed, her teeth were so buck that one or two of them were kind of coming out. You don't really see that anymore. I mean, you see it in Britain a little bit, but you don't see that in America anymore. Thanks, Obama. So, and they were waiting for me getting off. We were getting off the bus. They were waiting for me getting off the bus, and they were standing there waiting, and they were eating a bag of chips, waiting for me. Not American chips, not like crunchy Dorito chips. They were like British chips, you know, big fat diner fries, hand-cut fries covered in salt and vinegar, and then served in a newspaper. Well, nowadays it'd be a website, but you know what I mean. And it was like, and they were eating these fries, and I got off, and I was like, oh wow, my first time's gonna be a three-way with fries. It didn't really play like this. Is exactly what happened. I get off the bus, and we walked to her mum and dad's trailer. And then Mary said to Jackie, I'm not kidding, this is what she said. She said, "Jackie, you wait outside. I won't be long." And she gave her the fries and said, "And don't eat all of them fries." Then we go inside the trailer, and she closed the door, and she just took her clothes off. I was like, oh my God. I'd never seen a naked woman before. I mean, I'd seen photographs of naked women on bits of old newspaper lying around in the streets. That was porn in Scotland in the 1970s. It was. But she just took her clothes off, and she was naked. And I was like, oh. And she said, "Take your clothes off." And I said, all right, I will. I took my clothes off, and I folded them the way my mum told me at a sleepover. Fold your jacket, put your shoes under the bed, and then put your socks inside the shoes so that you know where they are when you go to look for them. And I was there, and she was naked, and I was naked. And I was very happy to be there. Happy in a way that, to be honest, I don't really get anymore. Now, don't get me wrong, I can still raise a smile, but it's more a kind of sardonic, bittersweet sort of thing. I go, hi, baby. I did not think I'd be impersonating a penis tonight either. But this was, I was 17, and I was like, and she said, oh. And she looked at me kind of the way she'd been looking at the fries. And she lay down in the bed and she said, come on, let's do it. I said, all right. So I leaned over. I swear, I didn't even touch her, and she was very nice about it, though. She said, oh, that was lovely, thank you. They were she's a very nice girl, actually. It wasn't mean to me at all. They actually, her and Jackie walked me back to the bus stop. Actually, we went outside, we put our clothes on and went back outside, and the fries were still warm. But they walked me back to the bus stop, and I was thinking, oh, she's probably going to want to get married to me now. And they were kind, and I got on the bus, and I was driving away, and I kind of felt good about myself until I looked out of the back window of the bus, and those girls were laughing at me. Like, holding on to each other, weeping with laughter, like making little penises out of fries and everything. They were just falling apart. And I felt embarrassed and ashamed. And then when I got back to the rest of the guys, I said, I showed her a good time. I showed her a good time.
Like, Boston is kind of, I think if there's a home city for me in America, it probably is here. You know, it's a city made up of Irish and Italian drunks. It's just kind of perfect for me. I feel like I'm kind of home. I feel like the sound of leaf blowers is the new soundtrack of America.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe it's because I lived in Los Angeles for so long, but I fucking hate leaf blowers so much.
You can hear them in the distance.
Yeah, I can, all the time. Like, I can hear them even when they're not there. There are real leaf blowers right now, right? You can hear them? Can you hear them?
If you can, that's a sign of there's some sort of condition. We need to take you in.
We used to take these tablets when I was a kid. It was, well, you know, when I was a teenager. They were bronchial relief tablets called dodo tablets in Scotland. And if you took them, you didn't really get high, but you heard this noise. Excuse me. You heard that noise too.
Good one, Daddy.
I think that's a way to make yourself very sad. You know, that old tears of a clown thing, like, you know, performers that can't switch off. I don't think I have that. Maybe look, talk to Megan. Maybe I do live like that, but I don't think so.
No, I don't think Craig is one of those performers that can't switch off. He's different at home than he is on stage, and, you know, happily so. I think that to have somebody who's on all the time would be exhausting.
So, do you think the expression tears of a clown applies to Craig?
I think that's a revolting phrase, tears of a clown. and I'm sad you've said it. Clowns are creepy, but I didn't marry a clown. I married a stand-up, which is much creepier.
I totally think my dad's different off stage and on stage. It's two completely different people. I will say that I'm glad I have the off-stage dad as my dad, that's for sure. No offense to the on-stage dad, it's just that's a lot to take in.
I don't have a favorite joke. I don't like jokes. It's like impossible for me to laugh. Ha ha ha.
Like if I stop touring, it's not because I don't want to perform. It's because I don't want to travel. Like if I could find a way of getting everybody to travel to see me, but then I wouldn't want that because I'd be like, "What are you all doing here?
Why are you in my house?
This is where I live."
Do you know who I really wanted to be? The model of masculinity for me, the guy who I wanted to be more than anyone else, was actually Kurt Russell. That was the one I wanted to be. He's fucking awesome, Kurt Russell. To this day, he's awesome. He's got a new movie out on Netflix where he plays Santa. Yeah, and here's this is how cool Kurt Russell is. It's not that bad. You know, how much money do you think Netflix had to give Kurt fucking Russell to play Santa? Hey, Kurt, will you play Santa? Fuck off! It's $1 quadrillion. Ho, ho, ho. He's awesome, Kurt Russell. He's fucking fantastic. You know that Kurt Russell has worn an eye patch in 3 movies? That is statistically impossible. You can't do that. I think he just wears an eye patch when he feels like it. The director's like, yeah, this is a romantic comedy. I'm wearing a fucking eye patch. You're playing Santa. Santa's got a sore eye. I always loved Kurt Russell. I always thought he was fantastic. And then I met him when I was doing the late night show, and we became friends. Fuck it, yeah. Well, he's not here. Yeah, I'm friends with Kurt Russell. Me and Kurt are best friends. I'm quite friendly with him. It was kind of weird. I was excited to meet him when he was on the show because, you know, don't meet your heroes kind of thing. But he was great. He's very alpha, though. You got to be careful. When he came on the show, I had to do that thing that little dog does when he meets a big dog. It's like, hey, Kurt, here's my tummy. As you can see, I'm completely non-threatening in every way. Yeah, all right. He was awesome, though, and I got talking to him. And, you know, we were just talking about things that he liked. And he said, well, what he likes most in the world is, there's 3 things that he liked. He said, I like Goldie Hawn, which makes sense, I suppose. And he said, I like acting. Well, I said, I don't really like acting, but it pays good money. And I'm like, not in my experience, Kurt Russell. And he said, but what he really lives for and how he would describe himself, and this is true, he doesn't think he's an actor, he's an aviator. Kurt Russell is an aviator. What he likes to do is fly airplanes. He gets into dangerous little small airplanes and flies them into bad weather wearing an eye patch. Yeah, and he comes by, honestly, he's the grandson of Bud Russell, who was a great American pioneer of aviation. He was a contemporary of Lindbergh and the Wright brothers. I mean, it's in his blood, and he's great at it. He loves flying airplanes. So we were talking, and I said to him, well, I couldn't do that, Kurt Russell. I'm frightened of flying, because I was at the time. And he said, you're not frightened of flying. I said, I am. He said, no, you're not. I said, I think I know my own mind, Kurt Russell. He said, you're not frightened of flying. You just don't know enough about it. You need a flying lesson. I was like, I absolutely do not need a fucking flying lesson. Thank you, Kurt Russell. And I threw to a commercial break, didn't think any more about it. That was on the Wednesday. Saturday of that week, I kid you not, a fucking guy comes to my house. Hi, Kurt Russell sent me up to take you for your flying lesson. Like, what? Yeah, you've been set up at Van Nuys Airport. Van Nuys Airport in California is this old airport in the flying school. It said, yeah, Bob, a friend of Kurt's, is going to teach you. This is a great honor. Bob is our best instructor. Bob's going to teach you how to fly. I'm like, are you fucking crazy? How do you even know where I live? And I said to my wife, do you know anything about this? And she went, oh, yeah, surprise. Like, what are you talking about? She said, Kurt Russell called. Like, Kurt Russell called this house? Yeah, he set up a flying list. I said, you know how I feel about flying. She went, Kurt Russell.
I was talking to a bunch of people that were coming to your show last night about why they're fans of yours and what they like about your stand-up.
He's funny. I just think he's raw, he's honest, and he is just so funny.
He never fails to make me laugh.
Just an award-winning personality. Love about it.
Just a down-to-earth guy.
It's just like I'm a kind of a bizarre guy, and it resonates with bizarre humor that I like.
Everything that comes out of his mouth is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not for everybody, but I am for them. That thing I say in the show about making stand-up for people that come and see me, that's true. I would never go on a stage and not try 100% every night, even if I'm like tired or shit. I don't fucking phone it in. I never phone it in. But sometimes the audience does, but I don't.
So I got in this car, I swear I get in the car and I go to Van Nuys Airport where I meet Bob, my flying instructor. Bob is 350 pounds covered in body hair. His hair is crinkly I can hear it crinkling under his pilot shirt. It sounds like someone's opening a brown paper package all the time. He's a big guy, Bob. A big, musky guy. I suspect lives alone. He's going to teach me how to fly. Bob, I kid you not, has a fucking eye patch! I'm like, wait a minute. Doesn't that get in the way when you're flying? He said, ha, take it off for landing. Ha. And he said, Kurt got in touch with me. I've got to teach you how to fly. I love your show. I said, thanks very much. You're a funny guy. He said, thanks very much. He said, are you looking forward to this? I said, no, I really don't want to do this, actually. He said, ha, you're a funny guy. Get in the plane. So we get into this plane. It was a Cessna 172. If you don't know the Cessna 172, it's not a huge plane. It's like a smart car with a surfboard tied to the top of it. It's not an overpowered machine. So I get into the plane with Bob, and I'm stuck next to Bob. He's big, and it's either I can smell my own fear, or I can just flat out smell Bob. Or a bit like when he said, "You ready for this?" And I was like, "No, I really don't want to do this." Ha, you're a funny guy. And he guns the engine of the underpowered, mighty Cessna 172, and the plane goes along the runway like this. Then we take off, we float around in the Santa Ana winds for about an hour, bumping and turbulence and stuff. I was really shitting my pants, terrified. And then we landed, and he said, "Did you enjoy that?" And I said, "No, I fucking hated it. It was terrible." He went, "Ha, you're a funny guy. Do you want to book another lesson?" And I said, "Yeah." Yeah, I do. Now, let me explain why. I'm an alcoholic. Now, if you don't know what that is, fuck, you live in Boston, you fucking know what it is. You either are one, you're married to one, or you were raised by one. You fucking know what I'm talking about. All right? All right, so I'm an alcoholic. Now, as you know, you've probably bumped into alcoholics who've stopped drinking, like me. They stopped drinking, but they're still fucking assholes. They just are assholes who don't drink anymore, and I'm one of those. And I've got this alcoholic mindset, which is, I don't like something, but if I keep doing it, I might like it, and there could be pleasure in it for me. And alcoholics are all about pleasure. I've taken 30 acid trips. I hated every single fucking one of them. But you can't be too careful. So I start taking these flying lessons. I've taken about 8 flying lessons, and after about 8 flying lessons, I was like, wait, I'm not terrified of this. I'm cool. I get in airplanes and just fucking fly them around. And it's awesome. And now I have a pilot's license, and I fly little airplanes around in bad weather, wearing an eye patch. That was good. Kurt Russell did that for me.
Tomas is an interesting person. You know, he usually tours with rock bands, you know. So any kind of behavior that I get up to is nothing. I feel like I'm an easy gig for Tomas. Also, you know, he's from the Carpathian Mountains. He sleeps in a casket with the soil of his native land.
Has he changed the way you tour? And
yeah, he does. I
mean,
mean, the tour, when I used to tour, I used to have planes, and like I had a plane. You know, we had planes, and there was like 5 guys on stage, and it was like a whole thing, and it was very expensive. And Tomas was like, we don't have to do this. And we just got a bus. He said, we could just go from town to town.
So I feel like the act I started touring on with him was very frantic, very full of energy, walking around on the stage. This one, I feel like he moved to Scotland. I feel like he is getting back to his roots and forgetting about the famous life, the TV life, and the fake life in a way, you know? And I think it shows in the act. He tries to enjoy it more, I feel.
I feel like if Tomas had his way, we would go from town to town on horseback.
One horse?
One horse, yeah. I'd sit up the front.
Oh, nice.
I fell in love with aviation because it's the opposite of show business, and I think that's what really attracted it to me. Because show business is bullshit, and aviation is 100% rational and truthful. Like in show business, you bullshit to get the job, and you bullshit to keep the job. You know, oh, sure, I can ride a horse. Give me the part of the cowboy. I can do it. Sure, I can host a late-night show. Just give me the suit. Sure, I can run the country. Just make me president. It'll be fine. Oh, hold on. I don't mean anyone in particular. So... but, you know, in aviation is different. You bullshit in aviation, you die. First time. Do you know how to land this plane? No. There's so many lessons for humans in aviation and the science of aviation. It's very important, I think. It goes all the way back to the initial Greek myth of Daedalus and Icarus, the first aviation myth. You know the story, Daedalus and Icarus? If you don't know, very briefly, it's the father-son team that make their own flying machines. Back in the days of ancient Greece, they make these flying machines, sort of hang glider things made out of bird feathers and wax. No one knows how to do that anymore. You try and do that now, you'll just end up making a fabulous outfit. But Daedalus and Icarus, and the story is that Daedalus is the father and the more experienced one, and Icarus is a little dick with an Instagram account. He's like, eh. And Daedalus says to Icarus, he says, careful, Icarus. Because a lot of the ancient Greeks were from Britain. Anyway, Daedalus and Icarus. So Daedalus says to Icarus, he says, careful, Icarus. Do not fly your flying machine too close to the sun, for the heat of the sun will melt the wax, and the feathers will fall out, and you will crash and die. But Icarus doesn't listen. Icarus is on Instagram. Icarus needs to take a selfie at high altitude for his followers. So he goes to, and the story goes, of course, that the sun melts the wax, and Icarus crashes and dies. But except that's bullshit. Because anyone who knows anything about aviation knows the higher you go, the colder it gets. That's how you measure altitude, you dozy fuckers. What I'm saying is, I suppose, young people, I think what we can take from this myth is that old people are full of shit and they don't know anything. Don't listen to them, they're making it up. They don't know anything better than you. They just have dry skin and have to go to the bathroom a lot. That's the only difference.
I watched his very first show, and I can remember when it was, just a couple of years back. And I talked to him after the show on the bus, and I said, you know, I watched your show last night, and I didn't watch it for the comedy. I said, I watched how you carried yourself on the stage. Because to watch what he's doing and to listen to his comedy is two different things. And I could see the, not trying to give him the big head, but I'm just saying, I could see his professionalism. I could see, like, if I'm doing my job right, you guys think it's easy. If I can make it look easy, then I'm doing my job right. Because if I don't make it look easy, then I'll worry you about, well, is Ronnie a very good driver, you know? So if I make it look easy, then I've done my job right. And I think Craig's the same way, only his is so much harder. Can you imagine trying to make people laugh? And you think it's easy to make people laugh, but no, it can't be. You know, it's gotta be, you know, you gotta have your stuff together.
Swing wide.
Swing wide.
Swing wide, Ronnie.
Yes, sir.
Ronnie is an excellent driver, and he's an interesting man, and a nice man, and a kind man, and so much so that if Ronnie's not available to do a tour, I won't go until he's ready to go.
No, I fell out of love with show business. It was because I did late night too long, I think, and I fell out of love with show business. It's full of shit. I fucking hate show business. I'm fucking stupid assholes. I think we have an unhealthy relationship with show business in America. Frankly, I do. And we deify these people, and I've met them, and they're, with the exception of Kurt Russell, almost universally douchebags. And I don't know why we do it. And I think the reason why we deify these people is because we don't have a royal family. So we make it's kind of ersatz royal family. Elvis was the king, John Wayne was the duke, Michael Jackson was the king of pop, Beyonce is Queen Bee, Lady Gaga, Count Chocula. It goes on. And I did not come to America to get another royal family. I'm not a royalist. I came here to get away from all that royal shit. I don't like the way that British people are always banging on about how great Her Majesty the Queen is. Like, isn't Her Majesty marvelous? She's marvelous. Do you know, she's 94. We've got old ladies in America too, pal. You go to Florida, you'll shit your pants. And you won't be the only one. I don't think British people are actually that into the royal family. I think what it is they pretend to be into the royal family because the royals are in charge of giving out knighthoods. And everybody wants a knighthood. Everybody wants to be touched on the shoulders with a magical sword. 10 points to Gryffindor. Prince Charles touches you with a magical sword, which has to be blunted, you know, because it's Prince Charles. Oh, what's this? Is this a telephone? I'll call Mummy. Oh, I stabbed my eye. Oh, I'm stabbing myself. I'm an inbred fucking hillbilly with a crown. Now, if you can't say that in Boston, where the fuck can you say it? There goes my knighthood. But you know what the thing is? I think knighthood's gonna freak me out. The most recent one really bothered me. There's a knighthood that's just happened, and I'm very upset about it, is that Ringo Starr just became a knight. Now, listen, don't get me wrong, Ringo is tenured. He's a Beatle, nothing derogatory will be said about Ringo Starr. I love Ringo Starr, he's a Beatle for God's sakes. But he's not Ringo Starr anymore. Ringo Starr sounds cool, but he's not Ringo Starr, he's Sir Ringo now. Sir Ringo sounds like a monkey. Oh, what's Sir Ringo doing? He's throwing his poop at the children. Ringo Starr was up, but Ringo Starr was famous when being famous meant something. When you could actually have to do something to be famous, like being a band, not just have somebody on the internet pee on you. You had to actually do something. Oh, hey, I made it up? Oh yeah, I made it up. I invented a scenario that doesn't exist. Fuck you. No, I love Ringo Starr. He used to go to Studio 54 and all that kind of stuff when famous people were cool, snorting cocaine off of little people's heads. They did that. In Studio 54, they used to have bald little people. Don't say it. I'm not going to say it. Bald little. That was a job in the 1970s if you were little. You could shave your head and get a job. That's outrageous. It's terrible. I don't think it's good at all. Did you just get a new job? Yeah, I don't really want to talk about it, man. It's too much, isn't it? No, sorry. I'm sorry. I know, it's all right. We can cut that out. Did you get a haircut, too? Yeah, I don't want to talk about it, man.
But that was my favorite show, and that is the one that I think you should concentrate on for the meat of it, because I feel like it has energy and fun, and it's kind of naughty and.
I think being away from your family is hard, and I don't like it. And if I stop doing it, and I think I probably am going to stop doing it, I don't know that I'll tour much after this. I don't know if I'll tour at all after this, actually. Maybe do a couple of gigs here and there, but a big tour like this, I think I'm done with that.
And that's coming off a great show. You still feel that way?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, you know, look, this has been a good tour. We've been all over. Like, we should have in this series a map with a line that shows all the. We've been everywhere. We've been from San Diego to Boston, right? We've been all across America and Canada too. I don't know that I want to keep doing it. Maybe this is enough. Maybe this one's been enough. It's been a good one, and it's a nice one to kind of get done with. But I don't feel the need to do it anymore. I might feel that in a few years, but I don't think so.
This might be a 2 Coca-Cola night.
Oh, yeah.
You think? It's Monday night.
Well, it's funny, it's Monday night, but I'm like in the days of what day is it.
Yeah, well, that's what happens with touring, though. You don't know what day it is. You don't know where you are. Unless there's a caption in front of me when I'm on stage, I don't know what show I'm doing. I went off famous people. I've noticed that the famous people I seem to hate the most these days are young male comedians. I cannot think why. I do. They fucking piss me off, though. Fuck. 5 minutes on YouTube and call yourself a fucking comedian? Really, motherfucker? What about an hour and a half in Ridgefield on a fucking Monday? On a Monday!
Previously on Hobo Fabulous.
The punchline of the joke is, what are you talking about? The first time he tried it, he was sick. The second time, his hat blew off. First time I tried it, I was sick. The second time, my hat blew off.
Oh, you're my favorite audience I've ever had. Oh.
First time he tried it, he was sick. Second time, his hat blew off.
It's Tomas doing the sound check tonight. Look at that.
About the lights.
How funny is that guy?
I think the darkness and the ridiculousness of our lives it's so. It can be such a grind.
Hey, quick question, Craig. Do you want to go to New York tonight, or maybe go tomorrow?
to be honest, I'm not sure how much longer I'll even do this. You know, I don't know that I will continue to do, you know, tour and do stand-up or even perform.
It seems like stand-up and performances, it takes a lot out on him, and he seems to be more, you know, relaxed when he's writing.
No, I don't think Craig should ever stop flexing a muscle that he clearly has. It's a performance art. It's something he does. It's something he's very good at. I don't know if he ever will stop. He may take a long break from it, but I don't know if it will ever stop completely.
That light is all different colors.
It's because you're looking at the polarized.
Great.
Like a bit of chai. All right, we good?
Okay. What are we doing?
I have no idea, actually.
He and I worked together on the Today Show for a week. And in all the years that I've done television, and I've worked with brilliant people, 15 years with Regis, 11 years almost now with Hoda, and they're magnificent on a yearly basis. But for the 1 week that we did, it was...
I'm like that as a lover. Great for a very short period of time.
I'll take what I can get. And sadly,
Did you see
we
the
both
National
love your
Enquirer?
wife.
Did you see the National Enquirer?
Are we having an affair?
Oh my God!
I wish.
Oh man!
All right, I love you, big boy.
I love you too. All right,
Okay.
get out of my dressing
I'm
room.
getting out.
All
I'm gonna
right.
drive. I can't
You get
stay
out,
because
too.
you're not that funny.
Yeah.
All right. I love you.
I love you too, baby.
So I've found a way of getting rid of it, of getting rid of envy and jealousy in my body. And if you suffer from that like I do, here's what you have to do if you're jealous of someone. Be happy for them. I don't like it any more than you do. Sometimes you have to do hateful, horrible shit in order to protect yourself. Which leads me to a story. This story takes place in the 1980s, when I lived in New York City, when I was in my 20s. I was a young kid. I like the people of New York. I like the way people in New York are all like stereotypes of people in New York. Everybody looks like they're kind of an extra in a movie about New York, and I kind of like that. You get all the stereotypes are right there. You get the fat mafia guy with the see-through socks and the half-eaten cigar. Hey, how you doing? Piddly piddly ping and all that stuff. Hey, wiki decky doo. I don't know. Whatever. I don't speak a lot of Italian. You know what I'm talking about, eh? Hey, Giacatone, Calzone, Frankie, Carmine, all that stuff. You get all these different types in New York. You get those guys, you get the weird Upper West Side movie directors. This is my wife, she's also my daughter. You get all of those different people. Remember, we agreed, no tweeting. So I was living in New York, and I remember it being a good time all the time, which is ridiculous. Nothing is a good time all the time, except, of course, Disneyland. I have to say that for legal reasons. You can't badmouth Disney. You cannot. They have people everywhere. There'll be one or two in here tonight. I can feel it. I'll tweet this out, motherfucker. You're Scrooge McFucked. Actually, you know what? I don't like Disneyland. While we're on this, I don't care for Disneyland at all. I don't like it. It freaks me out. Every time I go there, I feel claustrophobic and things get too close to my face, and then if I eat anything, I feel sick. It's exactly like a strip club. I would imagine. So I was living in New York, and I remember, I was working very, very hard at the time. I had an informal immigration status. Fucking definitely don't tweet that, it's not the time. And so because of that, I had two jobs. I was working uptown in a construction site in Harlem during the day, and then at night I worked security in a nightclub. So I had two jobs, but luckily I had a huge cocaine habit, so it would keep me going around. The circle of life. And I was kind of getting burnt out. And I got a phone call one day from my Uncle James. Remember my Uncle James I told you about? He lives in Long Island. My Uncle James and my Aunt Susan. They've been together since they were 14. My Uncle James is 82 now. He is still cool. He's still cool. He drinks whiskey every day, smokes Marlboro Reds, likes to bust my balls about what I'm eating. You still not eating the gluten there, Craig? Is that right? Aye. Gotta be careful with the gluten, son. That shit'll kill you. Tell me how that vegan thing works again. If you're the vegan, the man puts his penis in your ass. Is that how it works? You know, family stuff. So Uncle James, he's cool. He's a funny, cool guy now, but he was even cooler in the 1980s when he was in his 40s. So he calls me up one day and he said, Craig, you getting a little burnt out down there in the city? I said, yeah, I am. He said, all right, well, good news. My friend, Big Davy, who is also from Scotland, has bought a boat. And we're all going out this weekend on the boat. It's going to be me and your Aunt Susan and Big Davy and his wife, Mrs. Big Davy. So why don't you come up and bring up your first wife that you never talk about in stand-up? Bring her up. Bring up Anne, your first wife, and we'll all go out. He didn't say first wife, but he kind of thought it. So that weekend, Anne and I went up, we took the train out of Manhattan, went to Long Island, and we get off at the train station, and my Uncle James and my Aunt Susan were waiting for us. My Aunt Susan is a Scottish woman. So the words that she says might not match what she's actually telling you. So I said to my Aunt Susan, what's Big Davy like, Aunt Susan? And she said, oh, he's a lovely person. Which meant, of course, he was a morbidly obese alcoholic. And we get to the dock, and I was right. He was right there. Big Davy was a big, heavy man, covered in body hair, very, very red, clearly enjoyed getting fucked up. And his wife was there, Mrs. Big Davy. She had a similar thing going on. And I was thinking, I wonder how big this boat is. But we get to the boat, and it's okay. We get on the boat. It's one of those cabin cruisery things you see on the Long Island Sound all the time. And we get on the boat, and we're Scottish people on it. It was a beautiful day. The sea's like glass, the sky is blue. Scottish people on a boat. We're like, hey, in Scotland. And I go to give Big Davy a beer. I say, there's a beer, Big Davy. And Big Davy said, no thanks, I'm an alcoholic. I said, well, then you'll really need a beer. And he said, no, I'm an alcoholic. I've decided to stop drinking. This is my first day. That's what he said. It was his first day. I know. I never really thought about it at the time, but I look back on it now. My first day not drinking, I was in a locked facility. Receiving emotional support from the law enforcement community. Thanks, cops. But this poor fucker's out on a boat. He's out on a boat trying not to drink with 5 other people who are really trying not to ever stop drinking. So they're like, drinking, and he's like holding on to the fucking wheel of the boat. And we find this little island, and we thought, well, let's go to this little island, and we thought, well, let's go ashore and have a little picnic. But we couldn't get the boat all the way up because it was too shallow. So Davy had to ferry people across on a little dinghy. So he takes his wife across first, then he comes back to the boat, and he takes across Anne and my Aunt Susan, then he comes back for me and my Uncle James. And my Uncle James did a thing which I think should have him in the Guinness Book of Records. He goes from one boat to another boat with his drink, never spills anything, cigarette still lit, and he gets from one boat to another boat. Yeah. Good times, son. So he's sitting up at the front of the boat, and I get in at the middle of the boat, and then Big Davy gets to the back of the boat where the engine is, and the boat goes like that. And we start going towards the island, and I'm looking up at my Uncle James, and I realize I'm looking at my Uncle James. And he's level across from me, and he's still drinking. He hasn't stopped drinking, his cigarette is still lit, but now he is giggling and treading water. And he said, hey, you believe that, son? The fucking boat sunk. The fucking boat sunk. You can't make this shit up. And I had the thing, he was going down like that, like the end of Titanic. I was like, ah! The water was coming up like that. And I was like, actually, it's not that bad. It was fine. It was kind of funny. And my Uncle James was drinking and smoking. And then Davey made an announcement, which I feel he should have brought up earlier. Davey said, I can't swim! And this is when doing something horrible to protect yourself comes in. Because even if I hadn't seen the PSAs or anything like that, you know instinctively, when you see a 350-pound man on his first day sober, splashing around in the water, not being able to swim and drowning, if you go near that fucker, he's gonna take you both to the bottom of the briny. So I was like, he's like, help me, Craig, help me, I can't swim. I was like... But he was really properly drowning, like doing that thing that... I realize this looks like I'm performing oral sex, but you know what I'm saying. God. I love you, baby. Maybe it's my technique, I don't know. Anyway. But Davey was drowning, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. He's like, it's no fun watching Shrek die, it's frightening. And I was like, and he's drowning, and my Uncle James said, I think you better start swimming, Davey. He said, I never learned to swim. My Uncle James said, today's the fucking day, Davey. Am I right, Craig? Today's the day. He's gonna have to learn to swim, I'm telling him. You're gonna have to learn to swim. I can't swim, I'm gonna die. You'll die if you don't fucking swim, Dave. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then my Uncle James, who's very cool and very clever, he said to Davey, Davey, can I ask you a question before you drown? She's like, what the fuck? I said, I just want to ask you a question, Davey. Are you going to let water kill you? I said, what? He said, water, Davey. When I tell people back in Scotland you were killed by water, they're going to think you were a pussy. Water, Davey. I won't even put that shit in my whiskey. Davey was like, you fucking asshole, and he's kind of clattering towards him and trying to fuck him up. And it sort of made him swim a little bit, which was clever. So we got him close to the boat, and then we grabbed him, and we got him on the boat, and we washed him down like a big manatee, and we saved him. He did not die. My Uncle James saved him with bullshit power. But we did decide to cancel the rest of the picnic and just go home. It puts a kind of dampener on the day when you look a man in the eyes when he's dying and go... Davey made a decision, though, back on the boat, which I think was the wise one. He decided he was going to stop drinking the following day, which I think was And we all learned some things in the boat that day. I learned some very valuable life lessons on the boat that day. 1, never get on a boat with an alcoholic on his first day sober. 2, don't buy a boat unless you can swim. And 3, if one of us has to drown, it's you. We should never have been on that boat anyway. Davey was a terrible sailor. First time he tried it, he was sick. The second time, his hat blew off. Is that it? That's it. We're done.
I would say you seem to me to be the happiest I've ever seen you and enjoying yourself in the act more. Is it ironic in a way that then when you're there, you finally feel like you might not need it or you don't want it?
Yeah,
is there a connection to that?
I think that is true. I think that there is a certain irony to it. I finally feel like I can do it the way I always kind of wanted to be able to do it, and now I don't want to do it. But that seems about right.
You know, since you're coming up on retirement, are you happy with the decision you made to do this? Or are you conflicted, or neither happy nor sad?
No, I'm happy because I never could have seen or been to the places that I've been to any other way, not really. Not as many places, you know. You can save your money all year to come see New York City. You know, anyone can do that, but I've been in New York City many times. And I couldn't have done it without this job. I feel fulfilled. I feel I've done this gig long enough to walk away, be able to step away and say, okay, I did all I could, and I'm happy with that.
But you think you'll be content not doing this, at least for a while?
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah?
Yeah, for a long time. I'm done. I had a good time doing this tour. I enjoyed it. I like doing it. It's always nice to see you, Joey.
Same.
But yeah, I'm done. I mean, you and Tomas can come visit in Scotland if you want, but I don't want to do any more.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next time. Good night, good night, good night. I'll see you next time. Good night, everybody. Good night. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you. Good night. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Good night.
And so I don't imagine that I will tour anymore after this. I mean, you never say never, I suppose, but I can't see it. I'm done, and people say, oh, you'd miss what? Miss what? The Doubletree? You know, the bus with, much as I like Tomas and Joe and Ronnie, I mean, fuck off. I could be at home. So, I don't think so. And now that I'm living in Scotland again, I really don't like going away because I don't know if you know that, but Scotland's a fantastic place. I used to think Scotland was, you know, a dark, angry place full of rage and despair, but it's not, and it never was. It was me. I was a dark, angry person full of rage and despair. And now I'm not, so I don't want to leave anymore. I feel like I might owe Scotland an apology. All right, Ronnie, now what we're going to do is we're going to pop out. This is pop out.
Okay.
On the bus. Release the Kraken, Ronnie. All right, go.
What?
Yeah, check
What?
that. Check this out.
What?
Joe, what the hell? What the hell? Oh, goodbye. It's like the end of Titanic. Ah, near, far, wherever you are. Oh, you can't sing it, sorry. Near, far, or words to that effect.
Wow. That's some space.
Yeah. Oh! 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 Look at that! Oh, hell yes!
What the fuck? Do I get the $100?
You get the $100! Where's the thing? I think I threw out the rest of the things now.
Oh.
No, they're around somewhere.
You have to be sure.
The earbud! I'd lost my earbud and I gave a $100 reward. $100 reward because it's $175 for a set of earbuds. So I gave a $100 reward, and Adam won the $100.
Wow.
Well done.
That's exciting. Well, we got the end of our series.
Yeah, that's like the big thing. The big thing at the end. Oh, that's the season 1 cliffhanger. Were they ever going to find it?
Oh, that's a huge.
And they did.
That's congratulations.
Did you see episode 6? They found the earbud.